Hey, what's up, everyone? The Dan Sandwich here, and it is nearly Christmas time by the time I post this video. And I thought I would do something Christmassy in automation. I guess I forgot to mention that in automation, and then I will, eventually be in BeamNG.drive to test this thing out. And I kind of was looking for Christmas themed stuff to build in automation, and I feel like the Santa's sleigh has been done, like the red truck with the Christmas tree in the back has been done. I don't think I've ever seen anyone build a little red wagon before. Sort of like the Christmas story, kind of radio flyer inspired red wagon, and I wanted to build that into a go-kart, and that's kind of like the inspiration I had here. And I had a lot of fun building this. Pretty simple, rudimentary kind of shapes and stuff like that, but it's a simple, it's a wagon. It's a little red wagon. It's not going to be very complex and stuff like that. But I had a lot of fun building this, just as a simple little Christmas-ish inspired thing. Let's take a look at what I did here overall. So the car body that I used is this mod body here of like a little toy car sort of thing. And I cranked the quality of everything to 15 because I wanted it to be as lightweight as possible, and that's the best way to get the weight down. Or not the best way, but one of the better ways to get the weight down. I did go aluminum for the panel and chassis material because I didn't want it to be carbon fiber, just because, I don't know. I went rear longitudinal because I think most go-karts are like rear engine sort of things. McPherson struts front and rear, and again, plus 15 quality on everything. The engine, I went with an inline 3 naturally aspirated engine. It's 750 cc's, which is like big for a go-kart. But I wanted it to be kind of fun and crazy, as I like to do here on this channel, make some kind of ridiculous cars and things like that. But once again, I have aluminum light block material because I wanted, again, to go with some of the lightest materials I can find. I went with overhead cam, 2 valves per cylinder. I'm not really sure why I made that decision, but here we are. Again, plus 15 quality on everything, just because I wanted to get a lot of power out of this small engine, and again, to keep the weight down. So I went with billet steel titanium forged light for the cranks, for the crank, conrods, and pistons. Again, trying to keep the weight as low as possible. It's really cool. So this is the first time I've played the game since the Ellsbury update officially came out. It was in beta for a while, and I didn't really want to mess with the beta because I don't know. I wanted to keep things consistent, I guess, and the beta can sometimes mess with stuff. But anyway, now that it's officially out, there's so many more options you have for engine materials and things like that. It's really, really cool. I want to dive deeper into this stuff in the future for sure. But for Christmas, I thought I'd do something festive and fun related around that. So this is why we're doing this. You can see I've got, the compression's pretty high, cam profile, all that stuff. I'm getting 146 horsepower out of this inline 3 750cc engine, so a ton of power out of a really small engine. So I think that's going to create a pretty crazy vehicle in BeamNG when I test it out in there. Full disclosure, I have not tested the car in BeamNG yet, so it could be a massive problem, but we're going to find out. Direct injection per cylinder, race manifold, again, some pretty crazy stuff there because I want to get a lot of power out of it. We're still using unleaded fuel, but we are using super 93 octane, I think, or whatever AKI is. I don't really know for sure. Tubular race headers, and again, we're running no catalytic converter, no muffler, a really teeny tiny exhaust because it is a very small engine. So even though the fact that it has a lot of power coming out of it, it's still a tiny engine. And then when we go into the car trim, of course, everything is going to be plus 15 quality for maximizing weight. I feel like I've said that like 30 times already, but there we go. I went with a manual rear-wheel drive configuration and a 6-speed gearbox because I wanted to keep it because like it's not going to be a good car. Let's just be clear, it's not going to be a good vehicle at all. But considering the amount of power I have in it, it just made the most sense to be able to be drivable at all. That's what I thought it should be at. Manual again being the lightest gearbox available. It says the projected top speed is 234 miles an hour, which is just bonkers when you consider what the vehicle is. Yeah, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.2 seconds, which is really fast. I probably could have made it faster if I wanted to, but here we are. I don't see where it says where the wheel spin is. Again, I'm still getting used to these new menus and things like that. So I'm not exactly sure what a lot of this stuff is quite yet, but here we are. Again, it's gonna have a ton of oversteer because the wheels are so skinny, the tires are so skinny. Looking at like reference pictures for these wagons, usually that's like kind of on par, like the ratio between the width of the wheel and everything else. I wanted it to look somewhat authentic, and that's why I went with that. I wonder if I can make these tires even. No, I can't really make the tires thicker at all, so I'm kind of stuck with that. But I feel like it looks correct, which to me for this build was more important than getting something that actually drives correctly. I had to go with pretty crazy brakes because the brake fade was substantial. Again, considering the amount of power to weight of this vehicle, it just made sense. I had to go with pretty chunky brakes, so there wouldn't be a ton of brake fade. No aerodynamics to speak of. It's technically convertible because that's what the body style is, because it doesn't have a roof. So detachable soft top is what I went with because it is the lightest weight option, of course. One seat right there. Basic interior, no entertainment, no safety aids, no traction aids. Again, just very, very basic stuff. All basic across there. Again, it's probably not going to drive well. But that's not what we're doing here. Let's go to performance. It's showing 235 mile an hour top speed. I'm gonna have to test that because that is just ridiculous. I know it's gonna cause problems when it comes to actually trying to drive it, but I love how ridiculous that is. This little thing can possibly get up to 235 miles an hour. I would really be surprised if that was the case because of the total lack of aerodynamics and how important that is when it comes to actually driving it in BeamNG.drive. But I'm sure I'm going to find out. Again, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 5.18 seconds. Does a quarter mile in 12 and a half seconds, basically. Again, I don't expect this to be a speed demon necessarily, but here we are. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at there as far as all that stuff goes. It costs $316,000 because I did crank the quality level of everything to plus 15. Obviously that is an insane amount of money for an actual car, let alone a little red wagon with a small engine in the back of it. But yeah, this is just a fun little idea I had for a Christmas themed vehicle. So there we go. I've got the engine sticking out the back. I felt like that was appropriate with like the exhaust coming up there. Little kind of bucket seat there, very basic bucket seat that you would find like in a go-kart, for example. I where the handle for the wagon would normally be, that's what I put the steering wheel onto. I think that's a really fun effect there. Wasn't really sure what to do with the pedals. I don't think it actually makes perfect sense. Ideally I probably would have like some more like running gear or something like that underneath, but I wasn't really sure how to model that stuff to make it look realistic without making it look overly complicated for what the build was. So I have these kind of like basic like pedals there that you would probably find on like a go-kart, and that's kind of what I stuck with there. I also toyed with the idea of putting like a steel bumper out there, so that if it was a real vehicle, your feet wouldn't get totally crushed if you bumped into something. But given the obvious ridiculousness of this vehicle, I felt like it was appropriate to go as like unsafe as possible. So that's kind of what I leaned into here. So it looks sort of functional. I didn't have any idea where to put the gear shifter either because there really isn't room. So I kind of left that out too. So if you're a real stickler for detail for this build, A, I would just have to question why you're being a stickler for a build that is clearly ridiculous. And B, there's some explanation behind that. I just couldn't figure out a way to do it that didn't look exceptionally janky. So here we are. Maybe I could have had a gear shifter coming out of like this situation here with like the pedals and things like that, but it would have probably looked too crowded, and I really couldn't figure out a way to do it. So that's what we have here. So yeah, there we go. There's my little red wagon, and I'm gonna take this into BeamNG, and it'll probably be a disaster, but it should be fun. So let's see how that goes. Well, I think I broke something. I'm not sure what is different about this. Why this one didn't work, and some of my other vehicles that were also like hide the body and make the whole thing out of fixtures worked, and this one didn't. Really a lot of out of loss here as to what's going on. Those wheelies, which is cool. It sort of works, but like as you can see, the body's having a bad time. The seat is being possessed by a demon or something. Obviously it's gonna roll over. That I expected. Huh. Alright. I'm gonna have to figure out how to fix this. So let me try to do that for a little while. See if I can figure it out. Alright, I've literally spent hours trying to get this thing to work, and no matter what I do, it always glitches out. I moved from rear engine to mid-engine. I did mid-engine transverse, as you can see right here. I changed the suspension like 5 different times. I changed the fixtures, I moved the fixtures, I adjusted things every which way I could think of. It still breaks. I really don't know why this is happening with this vehicle. It might be the fact I'm using a mod body, but I even cloned the car completely. Here, I'll show you. Well, this is an older version of it, but I cloned the car completely, and then it worked. But as soon as I go back to this version, it doesn't. Here, I'll show you. So this is a clone of the vehicle, an older version of it, but still, the only thing I changed was I didn't make the body transparent. I made it the same color as the suspension and stuff like that, and it works. It breaks the bottom of the car still, so something's still breaking, but it does work. So if I don't make the body transparent, it works. And for whatever reason, that's the only thing that's keeping it from not breaking, apparently. Breaking entirely. I mean, it still breaks a little bit because you can see the floor is halfway gone. I honestly don't know what to do about this. Like, everything I try breaks. So I guess that's what I get for trying to make a festive holiday vehicle for Christmas. So there it is. I don't know, a little bit of coal in my stocking, a little bit of bah humbug. But I certainly tried. So there you have it. I can't make a car that doesn't break for Christmas. So thanks for watching. This is gonna be my least successful video probably, because it's not a success at all in any respect. But I hope that you have a good holiday. I hope this gives you something to distract yourself from maybe some awkward family situations or whatever, or something to put on while you're wrapping presents or something like that. If you're still wrapping presents on Christmas Eve, Godspeed. But yeah, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want, like the video if you want to do that. I'll do better next time. All right, goodbye.